Hey everybody, it's JANG here with an update on New JANG City. Only my second update to this brand new city that has just barely gotten started. Just still continue to put things in for the first time. Just old stuff that was already here. And obviously we've got a strange coloration going on this time. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Much better. So the big deal this time, the big news, is that I've got my elevated rail in for the first time in this new city, and I did preserve just the same loop that I had on the old city. It worked for me, and it worked with this kind of part of the road and base plate arrangement that I wanted to preserve, or that I was able to preserve after trying many different possibilities. So I ended up getting that back in, and the plans are back on the same as they were before, where it'll have two stops and it'll connect with the main rail at a separate station, as has been the plan for almost 2 years now. And then the second thing is that I got my fire train over by my fire station. Very happy about that, although I'm not entirely satisfied with what I had to do to make it happen. Folks on Instagram saw already what I was doing, and this is the purpose, and this is how it turned out. It could have been better. It's this right here. This is a joint. To make it make more sense, here's a regular switch, and I'm just going to overlay that where it would be. I'll take this out just to make that even more clear. Put that exactly where it should be, and you see that these switches normally go out and then they turn back in part way. So you put one curve piece after that, and then it gives you a parallel siding. Well, I needed to cut off most of that and splice in a piece of curve to allow it to do that instead. So instead of going out and then coming in, it goes out and then goes out again. And then that allowed me to get in this curve. Not happy that I had to do something custom. Not completely happy with how this turned out. Again, it was my first time ever messing around with modifying stuff like that, but this is actually a very common thing that folks who are serious about rail do. I didn't follow anybody else's example of how it's done. It's probably part of the reason that it didn't come out all that great, but it works. It does the trick, and it allows me to just barely, it's actually very smooth along there. That's the one good thing about it. Just barely fit in my fire train next to my fire station, so that frees up another siding over in my yard. Look at that. Look at all that free open space, full complete sidings, just ready to accept new custom trains. Very, very happy about that, because trains are so important to me in this layout. Here's how the fire station looks from the other side with the train parked up next to it. I tried it forward and backward, and forward just worked out a little bit better for how it looks and how it fits. Other than that, I added in another classic house over here along the side, one that I recently reviewed, because it would fit in very nicely and add just a little bit of extra life to this residential area over here with all the temporary stuff. I also closed up the friend's house just because I really didn't like the way that it was shaped with the offset, so I just closed that up really quickly. Here's how the budding temporary residential section looks from the other side. And most of those houses over there are open backed. You know, it's a half a house, it's got the dollhouse kind of design, but that does not bother me at all, because you only see that from one awkward size if you want to. From most angles looking at the whole city, you don't see that. And again, as always, as I've said since the beginning, this is temporary. These are just set here. They're just placed here. The options are either place ones that I already have built in these spots as they are, or spend a whole lot of time modifying them and making them look nice. I didn't have to spend much time on the Friends one because I just popped off one piece and the two halves fit together. I already had the two halves there, but all of these I would have to spend some serious time making them look nice to be closed up from the back. And that's time that I would be wasting, because I would much rather spend that time building actual custom houses and apartments and such that are actually going to go here. Well, there's a third option too, and that is just to leave all of this completely empty and looking completely dead. Well, that's not an option to me. I've got these houses, so I put them in. I'm very happy with them, and I'm not going to modify them. I'm going to use that time to work on custom stuff. One last thing, I did get my UCS sets over here, Ultimate Collector Series stuff, what I do have. So that's under here. It was transported safely. It was very difficult. It was a very slow process. I had to load them just into my one of my regular vehicles, and I don't have any packaging or anything that would be able to hold those. So I pretty much found kind of an interlocking pattern where they would kind of support each other and hold each other together without risking tearing each other apart if I hit a pothole that kind of sent the vehicle sideways a little bit. But those made it here safely. So just another major trip and another thing that's kind of out of the way, but obviously still a ton of work to be done on this city, which is still completely brand new, and so much of it is just temporary. That's it for this update. Thank you for watching. I'll be talking to you again soon.